guys, and welcome to the Coaching Minute. My name is Evan Grizzle, and I am so glad that you are here with me. We are excited about what is going on. Man, I hope you're having a wonderful December. I hope that everybody in your life is blessed and feeling loved and healthy. I know there is a ton of sickness going around right now, so we are praying for you. We're thinking about you, but I am excited to talk to you about something that's been fresh on my mind recently, something I've been thinking a lot about, and that is anti-fragility. Anti-fragility. This is something that a lot of people have probably heard of now. The thought of being anti-fragile is not something new. Nassim Taleb is the author of the book titled by that title, Anti-Fragile. If you haven't read it, go read it. A book that was purchased by a friend of mine, spends a lot of time alluding to this other thought of anti-fragility. And so my thing is I want to talk about what this means for us as leaders, because we all know that there are things that happen to us. There's things that comes up. There's problems that come into our life. And our response to those are things that are how we get through those things, right? So I had a friend who shared with me, and it really challenged my thinking quite a bit. And that is the thought of trauma is not necessarily what happens to you, but it is your response to what happens to you. And that got me thinking about leadership, and in particular, the thought of being fragile. How do we become people that are anti-fragile? How do we become leaders that are anti-fragile? Now, whenever you think of the word or that phrase anti-fragile, you might think of the word resilience, right? And that, although that is a very common way to think of it, it's probably not the best way to think of it, because resilience means the ability to get through something. So resilience is the ability to weather a storm. Resilience would be akin to survival. So if I'm resilient, I can get through something. Anti-fragile is different. It is a step beyond resilience. So, we want to build resilience in ourselves. We want to build resilience in the people that are following us. If you have children, you want to help raise resilient children, because that problems are going to come, that things are going to come up. So how do we get past resilience? What's beyond resilience? Well, the answer is anti-fragile. So anti-fragile is not the ability to weather storms. It doesn't mean that you break easily. Anti is the opposite, right? So when we think of thesis in academic terms is the idea, the concept. My thesis is, that means to say, this is my understanding. This is what I'm trying to say. This is my belief. This is what I'm trying to argue for. Then there is the antithesis, or the antithesis. So that is the opposite of what you're arguing for. So anti-fragile is the opposite of fragile. So to understand anti-fragile, what does fragile mean? If you've ever received a package, or you've ever sent a package, possibly, if you have fragile contents in it, you're going to write fragile across it, or it's going to be written across it. Breaks easily, whatever the case may be. You'll go to your favorite store, enter that name here, and you'll go buy glassware or plates that are glass. And most of the time, you're going to find a tag on there that says fragile. What that means is it has the propensity, the ability to break. Well, if you drop it, you're going to break it. Anti-fragile is the opposite. If you drop it, you're going to make it stronger. Now, how in the world can people, can organizations become anti-fragile? That's a great question. The answer is pretty simple. There are tools, and I'm not going to talk about all those tools today because I have a free live webinar for you to start your year off with on January the 2nd. That is a Tuesday. Man, I couldn't think of a better time to do it because you're wanting to start your year off right. And so that is a Tuesday right after January the 1st, because 2 comes after 1, and it's at 7 o'clock. It's completely free to you. There's going to be a free ebook. There's going to be lessons in there that discuss how to become anti-fragile. And there's even going to be a time of question and answer for anybody that signs up for it. So I think it'll be worth your time, especially considering it is free, the beautiful 4-letter word. It's not pre-recorded. It's going to be live. So join me for that. Go to evangrizzle.coach, Evan Grizzle, EVAN Grizzle.coach. Hit the link in my bio on my Instagram or on Facebook or wherever you find me, evangrizzle.coach, COACH, and you can sign up for that there. So I don't want to talk too much about how to become anti-fragile, but just to know that it is possible to come to a place where you welcome adversity, pain, trouble, things like that. They no longer push you over the edge. Instead, they make you grow. Imagine that. Now imagine that. Coming to a place where pain, problems are actually the things that cause growth. Your organization can do that. Your leadership team can do that. You can do that with the tools that I'm going to be giving to you. Now, we've seen this happen in organizations before. You think about churches. I have a friend that pastors a church in Chattanooga, Tennessee. And a few years ago on Easter, I think it was actually during COVID, on Easter, maybe 2021-ish or 2020-ish, a tornado ripped through there in Chattanooga, and it laid waste to the whole area right beside their church. Well, their church really stepped up to be a blessing to the community. And what they showed is anti-fragility. What should have broken their spirit instead strengthened them. A few years ago, Hurricane Florence was the worst hurricane that I've ever been through. That was one of the worst that the North Carolina coast in particular has ever seen. And when we went through Hurricane Florence, man, it was just a week of beating rain and flooding and all these things, hurricane strength winds that just sat on top of Wilmington. But after that, man, our church was able to hand out food and supplies to people that needed it. And we were blessed to have all those things donated to us, 2 entire truckloads full, free. But what happened was, what should have killed people, what should have taken away strength, actually created strength. Now think of times like 9/11, Pearl Harbor, other moments in U.S. history where things that should have toppled a country brought it to its knees, that were designed to do that. What they did instead was strengthen, resolve. That is what anti-fragility looks like. It looks like saying, I know this problem is big, but this problem is going to teach me something, and I'm going to become better. That when problems come, I'm not looking at them as things that can break me, but instead I'm looking at them as things that are giving me an opportunity to grow. Now, that's difficult, especially when you're in the moment, but if you can do it, what you're going to find is you're going to be a stronger person. Now, I'm not talking about hard, right? There's a difference between a hard person and an anti-fragile person. A hard person shows no emotion. They demonstrate no emotion toward others and all those things. We're not talking about allowing things to make you harder. We're talking about allowing things to give you the strength, not just to get through, but to be stronger on the other side. Sounds a lot like spiritual, doesn't it? I could preach, but this is a coaching minute. But it's the same thing in the spiritual. God allows problems. Why? They're refining you. They're making you better. And we need to approach that the same way in leadership. So we want to become anti-fragile leaders. Here's the thing. Problems aren't going to go away. Why? You're a leader. As long as there's people, there's problems. And that's okay. As long as you're pushing, there's problems. If there's no if you don't have any problems whatsoever, you're probably not trying hard enough. Or you're probably doing things that are too easy. There is studies out there that show that there's an optimum rate of failure. Optimum rate of failure being between 1 in 4 and 1 in 6 times. If you fail more than 1 in 6 times, you're trying something that is too difficult for your current skill set. But if you don't fail more than 1 in 4 or more than 1 in 4 times, less than 1 in 4 times, then what you're doing, or it's the adverse. I'm sorry. If you fail less than 1 in 4 times, you're trying things that are too easy. If you do fail more than 1 in 6 times, you're trying things that are too hard. So what we have to do is we can't be afraid of trying. We can't be afraid of failing. If we don't have problems, we're not pushing, we're not growing, we're not getting there. But whenever the problems come up, we can't allow those problems to knock us off our edge, to push us, to dull us down, to get us hurting, to push us back. We have to make those problems work in our favor and become stronger on the other side. Not just resilience. We do need to be resilient because there are going to be seasons where you're not going to be able to grow like you hope, but you can become anti-fragile. That is a mentally, emotionally, physically strong person that says, I'm going to analyze this problem. I'm going to set my emotions over here. Now, you don't have to apologize for what you feel, but you'll often have to apologize for what you do because of how you feel. I'm going to set my emotions over here, and I'm going to come back, and I'm going to analyze this problem. I'm going to say, what is this problem going to give me in terms of growth for me or for my organization? That is beautiful. That is anti-fragile. So if you want to learn more about becoming anti-fragile, go to evangrizzle.coach. Sign up for the free live webinar that's going to be taking place on January the 2nd at 7 p.m. I want to join you there. That time is Eastern Standard Time, so it's 4 o'clock Pacific, 6 o'clock Central. Then we're right here, 7 o'clock Eastern Standard Time, January the 2nd. I hope you can join me. If you can't join me, go over to evangrizzle.coach, scroll down to the bottom. You're going to find 2 signups there. One sign up is for a 5 principle series. You're going to get 5 emails that are going to tell you how to become an anti-fragile leader. Or if you just want to keep up with everything that's going on, stuff that's like jumbling around in my head, or original ideas, books that I'm reading, all this other stuff, sign up for the newsletter at the bottom. All I want your name and your email so I can send that to you. But man, it's been a joy being here with you on the Coaching Minute. I look forward to the next time. If you have questions that you want answered, you got topics you want discussed, you want to see somebody on here, let me know. Reach out to me, DM me, whatever that looks like. Send me an email. Let me know. I would love to hear from you guys. Thank you so much for joining me. And until next time, you have been watching the Coaching Minute with Evan Grizzle.